Good morning, guys. Dave Norona out here in beautiful Squamish, British Columbia. Just getting ready for an awesome winter. I've had an amazing summer on the e-mountain biking. E-mountain bikes, probably about 6,000 kilometers this year because I did a lot of boating in the middle of the season. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between the e-Spartan, which I've been running all summer, to the bike that I built up just a little while ago, and I've put 300 or 400 kilometers on it now on the e-Troy. Now, we talked about this when the bikes came out, that the e-Troy is sort of a little bit of a more of a climber, a little bit more nimble, and maybe if you don't live in a steep place, maybe if you live back east, not that there's not steep stuff there, but a little bit less big mountains, less big steep slabs, all that sort of stuff, as opposed to Squamish, where I live, in Whistler, where there's lots of really steep stuff and into really hard transitions, and that's where the e-Spartan really shines. So the main difference is there is a little bit of a geometry difference, but the Spartan is a 180 mil bike, and the e-Troy is a 160 e-mountain bike. Same EP8 motor, so when I got the Troy, I was a little bit worried that it wasn't going to be burly enough for maybe my lack of skills on some of the steeper stuff. So I actually improved that by taking on this build, which is the Dior build. It comes with a Fox 36 and Magura brakes. On the GX build, same bike, it comes with all Dior and then XT brakes and a 38 Performance, which is also on the Spartan at a 160. So you could always bump that up as well. And so I opted to get rid of the 36 because I can't go back after running the 38 for so many years. And now I put on this Zeb Ultimate. Thanks to the guys at Corsa Cycles, and man, this fork is incredible. It just feels buttery soft on the small bumps, but just really takes the big hits well. Easy to set up, and I absolutely love it. I also bumped it up. It's a 170, so now it's a 170, 160 bike. Now, one of the things I want to talk about that I didn't expect, that I absolutely love, is I come from racing, and one of my better things that I love to do is really hard technical climbing. And when people talk about e-bikes, they think, oh, well, nobody likes to climb. But actually, if you really like to climb super hard technical stuff, you're going to find harder technical stuff to climb. And if you match that to an e-bike, you're going to see the potential. Most people just do a climbing trail, and of course, they go, oh, this is way easier. And of course, just like as you get better at going downhill, if you stayed on the same trails, it would get boring after a while. But you progress and you go to harder trails. Same thing is true with e-mountain bikes. You can climb steeper stuff, more technical. And it really is a balance, almost like a trials bike. You have to be on it, using the brakes, the balance, everything. And that's what I love, just like when you're riding a regular bike up really, really technical trails. And that's what I love about this bike is, boy, does it feel, same small size, feels a little more compact, a little more climbing prowess for sure. And I didn't lose anything, I don't think, with this 170 Zeb on here. But boy, when you turn it down, it's every bit as capable as my Spartan. The Spartan is a little bit more relaxed. It's got a coil over shock instead of an air shock, which I go back and forth between both bikes, and I've run air shocks for a long time and coil over shocks for a long time. They both have their, let's say, advantages, and I don't even say disadvantages. Really, it's how you set up and your ability to get used to them as you ride. But you really can't go wrong if you live in an area where you like to do big mountain climbs and then great long descents. The e-Troy is really a bike that you should look at. You're not going to go wrong with an e-Spartan because they kind of climb the same because they have the same motor. The position is a little bit different though, a little bit more sitting back, just like between the Troy and the Spartan and the regular bike. So you'll see people and you can ask them why they chose the Troy over the Spartan or the Spartan over the Troy. That's the real differences. There are subtle differences. You can bring them closer together with things that you do, like what I've done here with a 170 Zeb. But really, you cannot go wrong with either one of these bikes. Priced at under $10,000. E-mountain bikes, everybody says they're really expensive. They're no $10,000 is a lot for a pedal bike. But what you get and how much you're going to ride, for instance, I ride 6,000 plus kilometers a year through the summer, and you just wouldn't do that on a regular bike. When I was racing, most of it was done on a road bike, and you spend a little bit of time on your mountain bike to get dialed on technical single track. You'll ride this every day. You can ride it on the road. You can commute with it. It's the one bike quiver. And so actually the cost per mile and per smile is way bigger, I believe, than a regular bike. It's why I ride them. I don't ride them for any other reason. People think that e-bikes are pushed on people. The reason why people are riding them is because they're better in every way. I take nothing back from all the 20 years of racing, 16 years as a professional, 500 races around the world. But literally, this is better. It's a better experience. It's more fun. It's quicker, faster. You'll get to places that you wouldn't probably go. And yeah, I just absolutely am super addicted. It's one of the sports that I do now that I could not live without. The fitness you can get, pushing hard uphill in boost mode, going as fast as you can, is like doing intervals and a high threshold workout that you can actually do way longer than you could hold on a regular bike. And you can ride them easy and you can chill and whatever. That's not the way I ride them. I ride them hard every time. So like a regular bike, there are people that just meander along and talk on the uphill and then ride a steep downhill and have a great time. Nothing wrong with that. And there's people who get on their regular bike and hammer as fast as they can and hammer downhill, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing changes when you go to an e-bike. So if you're a rider that likes to ride hard, you're going to experience how hard you actually can ride with an e-mountain bike. And I think that's the biggest misconception. As I say, when you ride an e-mountain bike, you kind of go, everybody puts you as the slowest rider behind the slowest regular bike rider, because if you pass someone, of course, the first thing they say is, oh, they're on an e-bike. But it really isn't indicative of what speed you may have on a regular bike or an e-bike. So yeah, get out, and if you haven't tried one, they're coming. We'll all be riding them soon. If you don't believe that, I'll talk to you in a few years. But as you see more and more out of the trail, I was one of the first ones in Squamish to have one, and I carried all the hate in my backpack. It was pretty funny to listen to people, and then change as more people rode them. So if you haven't ridden one, give one a chance. And these are two bikes that are really amazing in the arsenal of e-bikes at priced under $10,000. You get everything that you're going to get from every other bike. Don't be worried about, oh, I don't want to run Dior. I was in the same ballpark. I always rode XTR, super light bikes, $10,000 back in the day. And now I ride, Dior, SLX. It really doesn't matter. And especially if you're smooth. I put a GX drivetrain through 5,000 kilometers on one of these bikes. And yes, the chain was stretched and it was hanging on at the end, but it was still shifting fine. And these are not more expensive to run. It's incredible. If you know how to ride a bike and shift properly, in fact, an e-bike will actually make you better at shifting, better at pedal cadence. They'll improve your cycling up and down. And that's what I love about them. We'll see you out on the trails. Check out the eTroy at Devinci.com.